Seriously, you're looking for a Christ man, the one who anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord, to do His will. I'm that nigga.
One West, 125th Street. Look, y'all put y'all faith in presidents like they gon' change this country. Run the league and let y'all play cause y'all gon' make them money. Fuck Obama, he ain't come here on cargo.
American honor don't like no soldiers. For the spirit of the Lord, we don't like no soldiers. You understand me?
Saint, black, Hispanic, native, they hate y'all as the same. Hate Christ in they image, hate you as a slave. God ain't all love, scriptures say he hate African soft niggas, they know we not the same. School to prison pipeline to get you off the streets. Put you in the cell toilet connected to the saint. Molested as a kid, she prostituted as a teen. The byproduct of Martin Luther King dreams. They just took the yoke off, my nigga, we ain't free. We living bleak in these wastelands of poverty. If you don't know the truth, then the lies sound promising. Prophecy, gift and the curse. Dylan started killing, they was sitting in church. Black folk forgave him, man, this shit is absurd. You should never love your enemy, that shit ain't gon' work. Yeah, fuck dying on your knees, you better die in glory. Man, I joined the UPK, taught me the art of warring. I took a nigga life like mine to be recognized. I feel that pain every day, it can't be reconciled. Pops banging, my sister a prostitute. My brother got life, and somehow I still found the truth. War ready, no cowards, no excuse. Fuck reparations, you can't bandage no open wounds. Blood on the leaves, body swing hung from a noose. I was on a run in Nashville and I found the truth. I called the school, classes being held by the shock on my life. I want to be a gangster like a cop. Do this for my brothers, real brotherhood. Everything we do, we got it out this book. My nigga, I can never be no African. UPK the only authorized acronym. I'm passionate about my brothers and sisters. We in hell, I ain't got nothing against them. That's another religion. If it ain't under YAHANNA, ain't me murdered by them and got a hug from YAHANNA. That's the way out for a coward in my observation. They don't fear the Lord, they indoctrinated. Wolves in sheep clothing, Joe Osteen. Real priests bringing back black royalty. One West on my headpiece, rank and order. Can't let them trick me off the streets, I gotta raise my daughter. I got brothers at the border ducking ICE agents. I got the name change, it was life changing. My family thought it was a game, put on all black, they said I was going through a phase. It's more of us in jail than it was slaves.
Aquí somos la Escuela Israelita del Conocimiento Práctico Universal. Hoy estamos aquí.
Lord Commandant General YAHANNA I.S.U.P.K.
This is what Commander General YAHANNA did. This is what he did.
First camp, I cut off all my dreads. I took an oath when that oil hit my head. Niggas capping like they lids. I'm a priest, I never stick no fork in no pig. I was dead till I found out how to live. This brotherhood taught me how to be a man. I came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church. I had to dig.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're Hey, Shalom, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua Brakatham, to all the brothers, Yahweh Shemalatham, Bahashem, Yahushua, to all the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer 500 Barak Yala. You understand, with the I.S.U.P.K, which is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commander YAHANNA, 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, right? Just like every Tuesday evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from, we got the Brotherhood class taught by myself. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. You understand? Most High Christ, newly raised brother, Adam, Yabashin Shabrakata. Who else we got? You see 0 Day, Shalom, Young Man Marvin, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Shabrakata, Louisiana Voodoo, Shalom. Good night. That's a crazy name. Damn, we'll get to your comment in the section, right? In a moment. But shout out to everybody in the chat. We live on I.S.U.P.K, Montreal, Toronto, Haiti, and Boston on YouTube. I.S.U.P.K, Montreal and Canada on Facebook. And Barakiala, UPK on the Beagle app. Make sure y'all tune in as well. Any questions, comments, just put it in the chat. Make sure you ask all your questions. There is no dumb question to ask, right? You know, this is the Brotherhood class where we learn how to love one another, who to love, who not to love, who to focus on, is what the class is all about, right? And we're going to see an interesting topic because what? Again, this is the I.S.U.P.K. and the Commander General YAHANNA since 1969. We've been teaching you nothing but the truth about who are the real biblical Jews, who are the Israelites, so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, descendant of the slaves in the Americas and the Caribbean. We're going to see the reason why we've been in the predicament that we're in. It's not like we don't have the solution. We have the blueprint. We have the solution. But what is the problem is that we don't follow the instructions. And you see how in the Bible it says there is nothing new under the sun. It's not like anything that we do, anything we go through, we never went through that before. You understand? That's what we're about to see today. About to see that we always had the solution. It's not like we never followed the solution. We already did. We just decided to go back, to go back to our vomit again. You understand? We decided to go back to doing the dumb stuff. There was a solution for a criminal. You know, he said he can't make money or whatnot. He can't pay his rent, so he resorts to, I'm loosely giving an example, right? Go commit a crime to make some money. The solution is go get a job, right? When he gets a job, he can make some money, maybe not whatever amount of money he makes, and it keeps him out of jail. But then, for whatever reason, he decides to commit a crime again and then goes back to jail. He's released. He go get a job, keeps himself out of trouble. He don't go to jail. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter if it's the love of money. It doesn't matter the reason. He goes back to jail. Why? Because he decides to commit crime again. And that's what we're going to see today. What we've been doing that's like the topic of the class. We've been following the heathens since Adam. I should have named it Following the Heathens since the Garden of Eden. That's not going to be a shirt. That's definitely not going to be approved, but you get the point. Because this is exactly what we've been doing. Let me just share the live. We're about to see in these precepts that we always had the solution. We did follow it at some point. How do we know? Because every time the nation of Israel has been punished, they plead to the Lord forgiveness. They say, we're going to go back to following your way, which is what we should have been doing since the beginning. You understand? Shout out to Aizan, SHALAM, Yabashin Shabrakata. But real quick, we'll get to the comment of Louisiana Voodoo because it's in the topic of the class, right? So they said, I'm not telling y'all to forgive Africans for selling our ancestors into slavery, but y'all weird for saying Mexicans. Oh, good night. I didn't even see that. See, that's the problem. That's a problem. Right after I salute my brother too, Ban Yashikar, right? So this cat is saying, I'm not telling y'all to forgive Africans for selling our ancestors into slavery, but y'all weird for saying Mexicans and Native Americans are our brothers, knowing they also enslaved our ancestors, right? So now You see, when the Bible says prove all things, you would need to show me, when did Mexicans enslave blacks? When did Native American enslave blacks? You don't know who you're talking to. Not only do I teach the Brotherhood class, but I'm very well versed in history as well, right? So now, prove your claim of Mexicans enslaving blacks, of Native Americans enslaving blacks. That's what you need to do. You understand? Until then, listen, just be quiet, you know. And for those, and we're going to address that comment as well, if he can't prove it at the end of the class, because we're going to stick on topic, right? So let's pull up this first precept real quick, because we know exactly why we're in captivity. We understand the punishment. Listen, it's not since 1969 only. We always understood the punishment. We always understood the reason why, we're being punished, because we stopped following the Lord. Listen, Adam got punished too. He tried to blame the woman. As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick, right? Where is it? Genesis chapter 2. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2. Let's start there. Imagine that. Adam got punished. He told the Lord, yo, the woman you gave me made me sin. This man said, what? I gave you command to obey. You gave her command to obey. You understand? Don't blame her because you disobeyed what I told you to do or not to do. But let's get into it. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2. Let's start at verse 7 for context, right? And then we'll get back to the comment of whatever cat is trolling. I just want to call it trolling, right? Let me share my screen. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 says, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground. So that's after the creation. You understand? He rested on the seventh day and he formed man. He didn't create man. Man's already created. Go to Genesis in the first chapter, I think is verse 27. He created male and female. You understand? He created them. So man is already created. But now he's forming man. What does that mean? The key word is to form. Right? It's like when you go on a job in a formation, you're being molded. They forming you into, how, I forgot what's the English word to say it properly, but basically, right? He's instructing Adam on what to do, what not to do. You understand? That's what it means. He's forming man. He doesn't mean he's literally molding him like pottery. It's like you're not being molded. Like you see when you get a woman talking about, I'm molding her. Are you molding that woman like pottery? Like you could understand the metaphors. I don't know why everybody understands metaphors outside the Bible, context outside the Bible. Well, apply it with the Bible, because forming man, basically, he's giving Adam the law. He's giving him the instructions on what to do, what not to do. Just like when you're giving instructions at your slavery, what you call your job, on what to do, how to do things, how to not do things, what not to do. That's exactly how the Lord formed man, which is Adam, right? Of the dust of the ground, meaning from his lowest state. And the brother in the chat on the YouTube, bear with me, I'm going to address your comment in a second. And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. That's the law. You understand? And man became a living soul. How do you know that's the law? What does it mean to be a living soul? Right? For context, anyone can answer in the chat. Let me ask you all that. How do you know he was breathing? That breath of life is talking about the law. How do you know? Hey, Shalom, Yahweh, Shemala, Thaba, Shem, Yahweh, Shai. Thank you for tuning in on the Beagle. Anyone could answer. If not, it's Torah. That law, how do you know law is life? Listen, let me use this precept real quick. This is the book of Baruch. He became aware. He became aware, of the law because he's taught the laws. If that's what you're saying, I understand. But you want to go where the law is life, right? That's so much the point, right? Because he was not dead. He was not non-animated, right? That's because men and women, they're on earth already. He's not literally bringing up a dead body and breathing like the Christians do in life into him, right? Let's go to Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God. It's the Bible. This is what we got, our scrolls, our records. And the law endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life. You understand? So you become alive when you keep the law. It doesn't say you just live, but you come to life, meaning you become alive, right? But such as leave it shall die. That's one of the precepts you could use for the breath of life. Adam came to life when he was taught the law, when he was formed by the Lord. Just like we're forming these young men, you're forming these troopers. He got taught the law, basically, right? So let's get back to Genesis. And the soul, listen, the soul, what's the precept again? 70 souls left Egypt. Soul is a person. It means 70 persons left Egypt, not 70 poltergeists, right? Verse 8, and the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Was that man? Adam, whom he had taught the law. You understand? Let's jump down to verse 15. Salakia. Genesis chapter 2. Verse 15. And if the troll in the chat could bear with me a minute, I got you. I see your comments. Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. And the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Already, these are instructions that the Lord is giving Adam. You understand? He has to dress up the garden. He has to keep the garden. He has to maintain the Garden of Eden. Right? Verse 16. And the Lord God commanded the man. He's giving commands. He's giving instructions to Adam. Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. Salaki. But, verse 17, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. He told him, listen, this is what you could do, this is what you can't do. Right? That's the point. What did Adam do, though? What did Adam do? Anyone in the chat? What did Adam do? And after we deal with Adam transgression, I got you, Voodoo, Louisiana, whatever your name is. What did Adam do? The Lord said, yo, dress up the garden, keep the garden. This is the tree that you could deal with. This the tree over there you can't deal with. Right? But what did Adam do instead? Give me 1 second. What did Adam do? The answer is in the title of the class. What did Adam do? No, so for time's sake, here's what Adam did. He listened to his woman. Yes. But what does that mean? What does that mean, Izan? God gave him instructions, but he listened to his woman. What did his woman tell him to do? Or what did his woman tell him? I'm giving y'all I just gave y'all the answer. And sometimes I'm not trying to, because I'm trying to have y'all think, what did he do, right? Izan is correct, though. He listened to his woman. He ate from the tree like she did, yes, but you see, the thing is that you're not giving incorrect answers, but what does that mean? It's really more simple than that. Remember what we just read, right? God commanded Adam to do some things and to not do some things. He gave Adam instructions. You say he's listened to his woman. That's correct. But what does that mean? If he listened to his woman and he ate off the tree like she did, what does that mean? Let me give you one more try, and then I'm gonna give it to y'all. Right? One more try, and I'm gonna give it to y'all. If Adam listened to his woman and he did as she did, damn right. Give Isaiah a head. Damn right. Why? Adam listened to his woman. He didn't listen to the Lord. That's all he had to do. That's the title of the class. We've been following the heathens since Adam, since the Garden of Eden. We've been doing what we're not supposed to do. You know? So what Isaac said is correct. He listened to his woman, but he would not. Who is the woman? What do you mean? God told you to do something. You listen to the woman as opposed to me? He ate from the tree that neither of them were supposed to eat. Listen, she knew she was not supposed to eat either. How did she know? Because Adam told her they're not supposed to do so. And that's biblical, the instruction. You see how was it 1 Corinthians 3 and 11 and 3, where there's a hierarchy, right? So it's God, Christ, the man, the woman. The Lord gave instructions to the men above us. And said it's a ranking system, basically, right? She went against the ranking system. She disobeyed the order. And he disobeyed the order too. And guess what? Even though he blamed it on her, God said, oh, yo, listen, I gave you instructions. I didn't give her instructions to give you. I gave you instructions that you gave her. Don't blame it on her if you didn't listen to what I told you to do and what I told you not to do. We're getting into that right now. We're going to break down how they listen to heathen. And then I'm going to address this troll in the chat, right? Because Mexicans are definitely our brothers. Native Americans are definitely our brothers. And that's crazy how you just mentioned Mexicans. Also called Hispanics or Latinos, Central South America of Negro indigenous descent are definitely our brothers and sisters. And that shows how you were taught by the white man to hate your own people. But we'll deal with that in a second. Let me share my screen. The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. That serpent is not a literal snake. It is not a legless reptile. You understand? It's talking about a man, right? The beast of the field is talking about nations. Precept. Give me a precept. What's the precept on that serpent? You understand? Is not a literal snake. You understand? That serpent is not a literal snake. The beasts of the field are nations. That's what I want. The beasts of the field are nations. Who could give me that? The beasts of the field are nations. Listen, even the troll in the chat, if you claim you know the Bible, go ahead. Give us the precept, right? You claim to know, you claim to think that you know some things, which I know you don't. Who gave us the precept? The beasts of the field are nations, right? Oh, good night. See, no sweat. So let me give it to y'all so I could address this person right here. You understand? So let's go into the book of where is it again? Ezekiel chapter 34. Listen, just to the fact that Christ is we're the lost sheep of the tribe of Israel. Christ is a lamb, should let you know. But I'm gonna give it to y'all. This is the book of Ezekiel. What is it? 34. Precept upon precept, right? You can refer to anywhere where Christ is called a lamb. Is Christ a literal lamb? Or the lost sheep, literal sheep? No. But a better precept is this, right? Ezekiel is at 34. Let's go to verse 5. Ezekiel 34 and 5. And they were scattered because there is no shepherd. It's talking about the nation of Israel. How we're scattered and we don't have a shepherd. We don't have a leader. That's what a shepherd is. A leader that protects the flock, that feeds the flock. You understand? He makes sure the flock, the people, right, are safe, are well taken care of. You understand? It says, and they were scattered because there is no shepherd. And they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. That's what you need. We became meat. We became food. We became prey to all these nations that are preying upon us. You understand? Isaiah, I got you. Let me just finish reading. Verse 6. My sheep wandered through all the mountains. It's talking about the nation of Israel again. It's calling us sheep. Are we sheep literally? Listen, the tribe of Issachar, shout out to the tribe of Issachar, so-called Mexicans. It's talking about the tribe of Issachar as far as being an ass that crouched down. If I'm just paraphrasing, right? It's an old English word for donkey. You understand? The Lion of Judah. The Lion of Judah, the wolf, Benjamin. You understand? It's again, y'all need to stop making it seem like it is impossible to understand biblical context. It is, because y'all do it every day. Just not in the Bible. Again, my sheep wandered through all the mountains and upon every high hill, Salakia. Yeah, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. No one tried to retrieve us. No one tried to tell us who we are. No one tried to bring us back to the Lord. But it's talking about the nation of Israel, comparing them to a sheep, to a flock of sheep. You understand? With no shepherd, meaning no leader, who are prey, who are food, who are consumed by all the beasts of the field. Right? I want to read till verse 8. Therefore, ye shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. You leaders, those who are supposed to be leaders, hear the word of God, right? Again, it's talking about a shepherd. A shepherd is not a leader of a people. In a literal sense, it's a leader of a flock of sheep, or a herd of sheep, or a herd of cattle. But it's referring to the leader of the people as the leader of a flock of sheep. The people are the sheep. The leader is the shepherd. You understand? Verse 8. As I live, said the Lord, surely because my flock became a prey. That's why it says we are meat to the beasts of the field. The beasts of the field were prey. They devour us, just like a bear would devour a deer. You understand? Hyenas would devour antelopes and whatever zebra, whatever prey they're chasing. became a prey, were preyed upon. It says, Lamentations 4:19, our oppressors as swift as an eagle. An eagle is a predator. You understand? All these nations are predator to us. As I live, said the Lord God, surely because my flock became a prey. Again, we're referred to as a flock. We are prey to these savage, disgusting, heathenistic monsters. And my flock became meat to every beast of the field because there was no shepherd. There's no one to tell us not to celebrate Christmas. There's no one to tell us to love one another. There's no one to tell us, you know, that voodoo is not our culture. There's no one to tell us the right things to do and the things not to do. There's no one to guide us. Just like you see how kids they end up in certain situation because they have no guidance. It's the same with us. It's the same for the people. We have no shepherd. We have no guidance. We have no leadership to lead us the right way. Neither did my shepherds search for my flock. These Christian pastors don't give a damn. They're all about money. They don't give a damn telling blacks, Latinos, and Native they're brothers. They don't give a damn. They're all about money. You understand? They don't care that they know what they're teaching is wrong. These fake Israelites know what they're teaching is wrong, but they don't care about the people. You know who cares about the people? Commanding General YAHANNA cares about the people. He cares about protecting and feeding the flock. That's the only leader, the only shepherd the flock has that truly cares about the flock. You understand? But the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. Didn't I just tell you the leaders don't give a damn about the flock? The congregation. Listen, where's the clip? I need to find the clip real quick, and then I'm gonna address. I'm gonna check the precept Izan put in the chat, as well as the troll. Right? What the preacher said. The preacher said he shut the doors. He then kidnapped the congregation. He said to shut the doors of the church if they not deposit 40 grand. Let me see if I can find that clip real quick, and then we're gonna get to Izan and the troll. Let me see. That's the cat. Yeah, I got it right here. Let me play it. Let me share my screen.
Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. It's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sowed and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100.
This man saw homosexual talking about planting seed left and right. That's crazy. The point is this: he told the church shut the doors to get 40 grand. We just read in Ezekiel 34:8, but the shepherds fed themselves and not my flock. You think what is this? What he's gonna do? Do y'all remember the movie? I think it's called First Sunday with I.S.U.P.K and what's his name? Cat Williams, talking about buying an AC for the church and this and that. Listen, aren't you supposed to focus on the people? The church is not the house of God, it's the house of Satan. Are you renovating the house of Satan? You understand? Come on, man. Come on. They don't give a damn. These shepherds, these religious leaders, these spiritual leaders or whatnot, they don't care about them. They care about their lust. They care about their personal gain. That's what they care about. Little sodomite nature boy in them, you know, polite. I don't know if polite is a brother or not. He claims he's not. So let him be treated as a heathen, I guess. They only care about themselves. They always had a hidden agenda. It's about themselves. It's about their lust. It's about their gain. Flying on private jets and things like that. That's it. They don't feed the flock. Now, that's the precept for the beasts of the field. You understand? Before we get back to Genesis, yeah, you could ignore him, Izan. I'll deal with him. You said, what precept you want me to check? Isaiah 56, 9 and 10. Let me go to it real quick. Bear me one moment. Are you asking if this could be used as a precept for the beast of the field as well? Is that your question? Is it 56:9? And 10. Yes, Khan. So let's pull it up real quick. Isaiah. Let's say 56, he said, right? Yeah. And that, listen, that goes to the same point of all persons don't give a damn. No, our leaders do not give a damn. Most High in Christ, look at this. This is the exact same thing. And they were judge a troll, right? Isaiah 56, chapter 9 says, all ye beasts of the field come to devour, yea, all ye beasts in the forest. These nations are come to devour us. You understand? They come to consume us. Right? This is what we just read in Ezekiel. Verse 10. His watchmen are blind. Now, this you could use this for what we just read in Ezekiel 34:8, where our shepherds are not searching for us. But this is more so when they turn a blind eye. They don't really, again, they're useless. How do you understand they're useless, right? His watchmen, the people who are supposed to watch out for us, they're blind. They can't. Some of them don't see it. A lot of them, listen, they just turn a blind eye. I ain't gonna hold you. You think Martin Luther King did not know it was not good to join these white people? All he wanted to do is what did preachers say? He wanted to sow seed in unfertile hedonistic ground. That's what Martin Luther King wanted to do. You understand? Once he done that, post-nut clarity, he realized that his dream was a nightmare. You understand? He led his people into a burning house. That's what he realized. They are all ignorant. Talking about preaching equality, preaching integration. Listen, are you stupid? Still worshiping white Jesus, talking about there is no such thing as white supremacy. God loves everybody. So why don't you tell these white Christians to love the black Christ? Right? Christ has no color, so why is he painted as a white man? If Christianity is for everybody, why is the Savior white? According to history, white is not right. They shed blood everywhere they go. Children go missing, if not worse. You understand? They are all dumb dogs. It's not just being stupid. Dumb. Let me see if I get y'all the old English definition for dumb. If I'm not mistaken, is mute. Right? There you go. Mind you, this is the old English term for mute or silent. Not stupid, right? Historically speaking, historically, the word dumb originally meant mute or silent. Trace back to Old English dumb and Proto-Germanic dumbass. It referred strictly to a physical inability to speak with no relation to a person's intelligence. You understand? Salakia. Meaning what? I have a Rottweiler. Ruby's turning 5 this year sometime. I don't know when. It's irrelevant. A dumb dog is a dog that is mute. We just read Watchmen. Dumb dogs. If my Rottweiler right now lets the intruder in the house without barking and the intruder gets to harm me, it is a dumb dog. It is a dog that it did not alert me of danger. That's what it's talking about. Just like a watchdog. Listen, if I could give Ruby a command right now, which I'm not going to. I don't need to get her riled up. Ruby barks on command. She will bark when what you call it again? A stranger comes to the door until she identified, yo, who's at the door? If it's Officer Adayar, every time he comes to check me, you know, Ruby will bark and then open the door. Oh, damn, it's Adayar. Oh, it's Shaiwan. You know, Ruby know the people. Oh, it's my dad, or maybe my sister, whatnot, or my brethren that lives upstairs, you know. But if it's a stranger, Ruby knows, you know, she's not a dumb dog. She's not a useless guard dog. You understand? Like some of y'all have these little chihuahuas. I don't even want to do chihuahuas like that because I like chihuahuas, you know. But my dog is not a dog that will remain mute, silent. She will alert me of danger. But these preachers, these pastors, these people are supposed to be watchmen who watch over the community. Our shepherds do not alert us of danger. They do not alert us that there are hyenas lurking in the wilderness trying to devour us and consume us. They don't. They're dumb dogs. They're a useless guard dog. They're a useless Rottweiler. They are a useless pit bull who will not alert you of danger when danger comes. Right? Let me finish the precept real quick. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. Again, dumb mean mute. It's an old English term for mute. They cannot bark, meaning they don't have the ability. They do not alert you. That's what a dog barks for, to alert you of danger. If you know anything about guard dogs. Sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Listen, they're lazy. They don't care. You understand? They don't care. That's the point. So yes, you could definitely use that, Aizan. And just read the verse 11. Again, because it goes hand in hand with what we read in Ezekiel 34, verse 8. Yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. What did we just see today? That clip of that greedy ass pastor said, shut the doors.
I said, close them doors. Ushers, close the doors.
He made a call that everybody donates so he could get 40 grand. There's another video I'm not going to play for time's sake. The sister brings, you know, she brings her donations to the church. Pastor tell her, yo, listen, you're 1,200 short. 1,200 short. Damn, I can't pay my rent. I have to give to the house of Satan and be homeless? Come on, man. Come on. Come on. You know, verse 11, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, their own lust, their own greediness. They're selfish. They don't give a damn about the flock. They only care about themselves. A predator would come and they would leave the flock alone. They would not use their staves. They would not do nothing to protect, to feed the flock. Everyone for his gain from his quarter. So the question is, can you use that, Aizan? Definitely can. Now, before we get back to Genesis, right? Listen, I ain't gonna respond to every single comment you make. Keep commenting, boost the algorithm. But you had to prove that Mexicans, just so y'all know, we might do a part 2 of the class. I ain't gonna hold you, you know, because it's a heavy class and we need to know that we've been making the same mistakes over and over again. And it's not like we never had the solution. We just go back to doing the same stupid thing all the time, right? So he said he said something before that. Where's the first comment? You have to prove Mexicans and natives enslaved us. So the 5 civilized tribes, you just prove yourself wrong. The 5 civilized tribes in the U.S. literally enslaved Black Americans. The Cherokee freedmen, other freedmen, literally had to take Native Americans to federal court for tribal citizenship. What you're doing is you're proving that out of over 100 so-called Native American tribes, only 5 enslaved us. You want to know something else? Have anyone ever heard about the Buffalo Soldiers? Those Black men who were told to hunt so-called Native Americans in the promise of freedom. You think it's new that we're being misled to hate one another and to hurt one another? You're proving the point that you don't know what you're talking about. You understand? Because as a nation, if you don't know, y'all go see. Let me see if I'm gonna get y'all the book. Listen, I have it handy right here. We're talking about this book It's called Black Indians by William Lawrence Katz. You understand? Go read the book. That's what you need to do. Go read the book and get your history straight. Didn't I tell you you don't know who you're talking to? Now, we read books. If I can show you on my library, I need to buy a second one. We know history. Didn't you know that the natives intermingle with the blacks, especially when they got a status of not being slave, because natives were slaves too. When they got a status of not being slave, they made it seem like they're buying slaves, but to freedom. Who did that again? The Seminole Indians did that all the time. All so-called tribes, or you know, for lack of a better word, tribes of native nation did that to free them. Besides 5 out of 100, over 100, only 5 did that. You know, are guilty of enslaving blacks. Come on, man. There are rules that were set in place. Go read that for yourselves. There are rules that were set in place to divide so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives, to stop us from intermingling with one another. You don't know history. We do. Native slaves, to prevent them from fleeing the plantation in Canada, you know what they did? Especially by the French. As opposed to have them flee into, you know, a land that they already know the layout, they took them and they ship them. Those Native Americans, they shipped them to the French colonies, such as Haiti, specifically Martinique, especially Martinique, which is where I'm from. Haiti, Guadeloupe, French Guyana. So that not on an island that they don't know the layout of the landscape, they can't flee nowhere, which they still did and established maroon communities. Come on, man. Do I even need to? I'm going to address 2 more of your comments because you just prove you don't know nothing. Listen, watch this comment. This is stupid. Slavery was legal in Mexico from 1529 to 1829. Bro, respectfully, you're not as intelligent as you think. The Bible has no sweat. So slavery was legal in Jamaica. Now, what is that supposed to mean? Slavery was legal in Jamaica just like it was legal in Mexico. So what's your point? What's your point? Come on. You see, the problem is when you think you know something, but you really don't, you're proving yourself to be stupid. Who abolished slavery in Mexico? I'm going to entertain 2 more comments for time's sake. Who abolished slavery in Mexico? Who was it that abolished slavery in Mexico? This is, I'm not even asking anyone but the troll Voodoo in the chat. Who abolished slavery in Mexico? If you know history, who abolished slavery in Mexico? You're typing in the chat. Why don't you go type on Chat GPT or Google? Vicente Guerrero. That's a good job, but he was not an African. He was a black and indigenous descent. They don't know. They don't even know which is his father's side. They just know he's black or indigenous. Regardless, he's a Mexican. Now, look up in the chat. Why? Look up in the chat the battle. Not look in the chat. Salaki. Look up on Google the Battle of the Alamo. Look up what was the Battle of the Alamo about? Look it up. You understand? Now, let me see if I can just 1 more comment. That's crazy. After that, I'm done with you because you don't know nothing. Understand? It said keep paying taxes to the white man. Nigga, you pay taxes too. That's how I know for a fact. Let me say abolish slavery Mexico over 300 years later. Listen, the Haitians are the first to abolish slavery in Haiti, 1804. When they abolished slavery in Haiti, is that relevant? See, listen. Just for interaction with the crowd and to prove a point that people should be quiet. They're too quick to speak, not to hear. They don't know what they're talking about. That's why I entertained your trolling in the chat, which you think is serious. I take it as trolling because I know you don't know nothing. Your name is Hoodoo in Louisiana Voodoo. Don't you know that Voodoo is a West African religion? Don't you know that Voodoo belongs to the West Africans? The Mexicans did not enslave the blacks. The Mexicans were slaves. The Mexicans were slaves themselves. See, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm done with you. Now, let me educate y'all for a second, and then we go back, right? Which proves the point. We've been following after these heathens, you understand, since the Garden of Eden. This man said, I live in the Caribbean. You live in Canada. What is, damn, people are stupid. No sweat. So let me educate y'all. Voodoo. Voodoo is often spelled Vodou or Vaudin, as an ancient nature-honoring spiritual system rooted in West Africa. We brought voodoo to the Caribbean, name it Santeria in Dominican Republic or Cuba. Voodoo, the Haitians still call it voodoo. We call it Kemboa, whatnot, because we brought that aspect of African culture because we were taken from Africa. We adopted some of the African customs when we dwelt in Africa. You can't checkmate nobody. You don't even know how to play chess. This is to just be quiet. But if you want to keep commenting in the chat and boost the algorithm, go ahead. Voodoo started in Benin, in Cameroon, in that region of West Africa. If you want to worship Africans, go worship Africans. But you're proving the point why we're in captivity today. Now, let's get back to the class. This man's stupid as hell. Let's get back to the class. Where is it? Genesis 3:1. Right? Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. You know what you could do? One last thing. You could either call Cross the Line Radio every Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could come on Beagle if you want to argue with us. Barakiala, just like it spelled my name right here. Or you could call, you could come on our show, Heads of State 144, every Tuesday, 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One West Ground Zero Radio, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will show you how you know nothing. You understand? Let's get back to it. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Again, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. We see I was talking about these other nations. Right? And he said unto the woman, Yea, had God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Why did he go to the woman? For times I would give it to y'all, right? Because women are impressionable. It says in 1 Peter 3:7 that she is the weaker vessel. You understand? That's why he didn't go to Adam. Adam was not impressionable like that. The woman was. He beguiled Eve. She's the one that he deceived. He went for the weak link. That's what a woman are, the weaker vessel. He said unto the woman, Yea, God had said, had God said, Ye shall not eat of every fruit of the tree of the garden. Verse 2, and the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. So she's telling him what she knows about. What can we do? What can we not do? Verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, Ye shall not eat of it. So here's what we're allowed to do. Here's what we're not allowed to do. Yes, we can eat everything in the water that has fins and scale, but if it has only fins, only scale or neither, we can't do that. I'm just giving you an example, right? He's not talking about eating physically in the literal sense. Think food for thought. God had said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. We should not even have approached these other nations. That's pretty much what the Lord told us. And I'm going to give y'all a precept where the trees in the garden as well are the other nations. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. See how he beguiled her? Like these Muslims want to tell you, yeah, come to Islam. It's the truth. Islam is better than Christianity. Yeah, you understand? Bow to the rock. Islam is a peaceful religion. You understand? Christianity is for everybody. Don't listen to these Israelites. God loves everybody. I'm going to show you how beautiful it is. Flowers and hugs and kisses. Come to find out, that's like Simba. The movie Simba. Mufasa told Simba, "Don't go over there in the elephant graveyard." Simba still went. That's outside the Garden of Eden. That's where he would told us not to go. You understand? Salakia, let's jump down to verse 6. Now we can read verse 5, for context. Verse 5. For God doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So he's beguiling the woman like, yo, listen, you're going to get some power. Yeah, I should have asked y'all for that, for y'all to break it down. Basically, he told the woman, yo, you're going to be powerful. You're going to, listen, you're going to be on a pedestal. Don't believe what God said. Listen to what I'm telling you. Imagine that. Now, what did Eve do wrong? Let me ask y'all that before we go to verse 6. What did Eve do wrong? What did Eve do wrong? I know a lot of y'all are going to tell me, yeah, she disobeyed the Lord. But how? What did she do wrong, and how did she disobey the Lord? How, what did she do wrong? I'm giving y'all the answer inadvertently, just so y'all know, because I'm poor with words. But what did Eve do wrong? There's 2 precepts for that. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do a part 2, because damn, so many precepts you could go over. We follow the heathens and then we go back in captivity. We follow the heathens and we're punished. All we need to do is obey. What did Eve do wrong? I think there's one precept. She listened to the heathen. Yes, Isaiah, you're giving right answers, but specifics. If she listened to the heathen, what happened? What does that mean that she did? She listened to the heathen. See, this is not just for us to understand, right? This is also specifically for women. Did not obey the law. Yes. She disobeyed, okay. But specifically, she disobeyed the Lord by listening to the heathen, which means y'all giving 2 key words, by the way, just so y'all know. Y'all giving 2 key words. If I give you another hint, it's going to be too easy. So one more try. Y'all giving 2 key words. Listen and did not obey. Yes, that's not incorrect. But what does that mean? What does that mean? Come on, I'm going to give y'all, 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds and 5 more seconds. Yes, exactly. She went against her husband. That's exactly what it is. Because, give her eyes in the head. You understand? She turned her back on, yes, she turned her back on the Most High, but how did she do it? The Most High didn't speak to her. The Most High didn't give her the instructions. Isaiah got it right. She went against her husband. God gave Adam the instructions. Adam told her what to do, what not to do. He gave her the words of God. Of course, she's going to say, God said to do this and that. You understand? Listen, we get orders passed down. I got orders passed down from my captain. And he said, Commander YAHANNA said this and that. You understand? If I tell the next man, yo, Commander YAHANNA said this and that, I didn't speak to Commander YAHANNA directly. I got it from my captain. You understand? That's what she could say. Yeah, God said to not do this. God said to not do that. And even then, the serpent said, yo, did God say this? The point is she went against her husband. That's why I say y'all given 2 key words to listen and to obey. Right? Let me give you all this precept. This is the book of Ephesians. Chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. She did not do that. She didn't submit herself to her husband. She submitted herself to the goddamn heathen. She should have listened to Adam. She should not have listened to that serpent, to that man. She listened to another man but her own. Take note, sis. Take note, sisters. Listen, your man, as long as he's not telling you to do something unlawful, listen to him. He tells you to make a sandwich, go make the sandwich. He tells you not to wear these high heels, don't wear the high heels. You understand? He tells you to dress a certain way, to not dress a certain way. As long as it's not something unlawful, just submit to your man. Listen to what he says. Eve did the total opposite, you know, and that's how she disobeyed. All she had to do is listen to Adam. And I ain't putting the fault on the sister, right? Why? Because Adam messed up too. Like Isaiah said, he listened to his woman. He didn't listen to God. You know, she got beguiled and told, yeah, you're going to be powerful. You're going to get status. She's like, oh, damn. They said, tell a woman she's going to get power. Listen, that's what feminism did. Feminism is a perfect example of the serpent beguiling our women. Feminism had nothing to do with women empowerment. Feminism was about, you know, white women wanted to be as much as deviants as their husband. Their husband is cheating on them all the time. Well, we don't say cheating, but he's sleeping with other women all the time. They just wanted sexual freedom. They wanted to be openly whores. That's what feminism was about. And they beguiled our women saying, yeah, just, you know, it's about women empowerment. We women are color because it's about women empowerment. All these feminists are racist anyways. What made you think it was about women empowerment? You are not included. But because you hear empowerment, power, you understand? You're like, oh, damn. Yes, you want power. You want to be independent. They gas you up with all these, with this smooth talk. The serpent is a subtle beast. He's smooth. He's cunning. Our oppressor is a beast. They're smooth. They're cunning. You know, so you beguile our women just like they do today, you know. And that's how they mess up. That's how they kick the men out the house. Let's keep reading. He beguiled the woman, telling them, yo, you're going to be like gods. You understand? Just do it. It was a scam the whole time. Genesis 3 and 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, yo, damn. And just a sidebar, nowhere in here it says apple, just so y'all know. Right? And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes, that's why a woman is easily impressionable. It's pleasant to the eyes. Yo, gonna get status, gonna be as gods. Yes, why not? What do you mean? You know, I ain't trying to be a hep meat. I'm trying to be on the same level as Adam. I'm trying to be a god. Yeah, that was all talk. And a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. This man forgets. Listen, what's that precept? Zerubbabel. We're gonna have to do a whole Brotherhood class about that, but let's keep going for time's sake. Zerubbabel in First Ezra chapter 4, right? It says, "Listen, men have lost their wits for women." He said that's. Listen, women have a different type of power for men, but guess what? Adam, the truth, the law is supposed to be more powerful. The men got weak. And it happens to a lot of men, but this is a perfect lesson to not be weak for a woman. You know, perfect lesson. Sadly, a lot of y'all might be, but that's why we're here to remind you, don't. A lot of men made this mistake to be weak for a woman, you know. It don't matter how she look. It don't matter if she was fine as hell. It don't matter if you think she cute on mute and everything. A lot of men made this mistake, and then guess what? Adam was the first to make that mistake for you, to not do the same mistake. But this is the topic of the class. We've been following these heathens since Adam. We've been doing the same mistakes over and over again. Now it's time to not repeat these mistakes. I see your question, Isaiah. Bear with me 1 second. You understand? Do not become weak for a woman. Adam was weak for a woman. And what did he do? He went against the Lord. And then he blamed it on her. She ain't to blame if you didn't listen. You chose to listen to her. What, she tie you up to a tree? That's what I said. You know, when I can't tie you, you're gonna hear me say that all the time, right? When we tell you to stop sinning, I can't tie you up to a tree and force you to stop smoking crack. The moment you untie yourself, you're gonna go right back to the pipe. I can't tie you up to a tree and force you to stop being a whore. Nobody forced Adam. Eve did not force Adam to disobey the Lord. He did it though. You understand? Then when we were attempted to be forced in the book of Maccabees to eat pork, we still didn't. We got tortured, scalp, tongue pull out, skinned alive, boiled alive, and we still did not disobey. The brothers did not disobey the Lord. You can tell me about peer pressure being forced. Adam just got weak for a woman. Eve had that wop, salakia. You understand? Adam got weak. Let's finish this real quick, and then I'm going to get Aizan's question. Verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. For time's sake, I'm going to just give you all the precept for the nakedness. It's Exodus 32 and 25, right? And I have 1,000 precepts to go over with y'all. Next week, we definitely do a part 2 for the class. Exodus 32 and 25 is a perfect example to know that they were not literally naked. And then I'm going to answer Aizan's question because that falls hand in hand with why he's asking, why do Christians get the apple from? Where did they get the apple from? The same way they understand that Adam and Eve were physically naked. Exodus 32 and 25. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, right? For Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. That story is when they made the golden calf. You understand? Something else you could use is Isaiah 30 and 1. When we cover ourselves with a different covering in the Spirit of the Lord. What is the Spirit of the Lord? Is the law. Something covering. See, like a blanket, you protect yourself from the elements and the cold with a blanket. The Lord is a buckler, a shield unto us that follows the law. That nakedness is spiritual nakedness. It's not physical. You think the Lord is a deviant like y'all? That's white people who are deviants. So to answer Aizan's question, this is the same manner that they get the physical nakedness, the same manner where they get the apple, is whitewashing during the Renaissance. Renaissance, which is a French word for rebirth, right? Damn, y'all have me do like 10 topics at the same time, but no sweat. We do a topic on that as well about the whitewashing. So basically, during the Renaissance, we used to rule Europe for a certain period of time. That's what they call the Dark Ages or the medieval ages, right? So during the Renaissance, when they kind of start to come back in power, they whitewashed everything. You see where in the scriptures where it says, there's 2 precepts for that. There's Job chapter 9. Is it 9? Job chapter 9, verse 22, 24. Job chapter 9, verse 24. It says, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? You could use that for whitewashing. They made the judges. They made Christ white. They made Peter, Paul, all the apostles made them white. You understand? You can use that for whitewashing as well as Revelation. I think it's Revelation chapter, is it 9? No, it's not 9. I think it's Revelation chapter 20. It's in Revelation. There's a whole chapter. Yeah, so Revelation chapter 20, verse 1 on down to, yeah, let me get it for you. Verse 1 on down to verse about 10. But let me start at verse 7 for time's sake, right? We're going to go over that in another class. So Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. If you go up above a couple of verses, it's going to talk about the dragon, the serpent, called Satan. So it's not Satan the angel. It's talking about our oppressor, who's the devil the Bible speaks of, right? Being bound for thousands of years. He was not in power during that period of time. He was not allowed to deceive the nation. But at some point, he came back to power. After the fall of the Roman Empire, they were not in power no more. They were in the medieval or dark ages. And that's what it's referring to. We're going to do a whole breakdown on that. Right? I'm just trying to get through these precepts. You understand? But this is talking about the dark ages. Now, when they became back to power, when they became loose out of their prison, out of the place where they're not in power, what happened? Verse 8, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. How did he deceive the nations? He whitewashed everything. That's how. You understand? Let me stop right here. So that's how he deceived the nations. We'll go over next week in the part 2. I'm gonna actually start with this. I'm gonna do a whole class, but I might start with this question to go in depth in it. So basically, where did they get that from? They get that from whitewashing during the Renaissance, Isaiah. Right? That's where they get hell from, being a place where you burn for eternity. The church just depicted images their own way of what they say is in the Bible, which is not. That's the same where they get Christ being white from, hell underground with demons or whatnot. All these are just pictures they painted. Nowhere it says an apple. They just painted an apple. The nakedness, they made them literally naked. Not understand that this was not talking about physical nakedness. So all these pictures we see in the church is the whitewashing. This is where they get the apple from, the physical nakedness from, hell, heaven, or whatnot. If that answers your question, Izan, right? All right, no sweat. I am the Barak. Let's go back to Genesis, though. We'll get more in detail on that. If not, next week we're going to do a whole class on that, but that's where they get it from. So Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3 said they were naked. Let's go to verse 9 for time's sake. Genesis chapter 3 and 9 says, and the Lord called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? Of course, because of what we just spoke about and the iconoclasm, which is the pictures, right? Let me not give you too much words, right? They call it iconoclasm, a fancy word for whitewashing. Because of these pictures as well, they're going to make it seem like, oh, they were in a literal, field of trees, a garden full with actual trees. And the God came like he can't see Adam, looking for him physically. The Lord did not, what do you call it again? The Lord did not recognize Adam because he's not following the law no more. It's like, yo, like you see someone, the way they carry themselves, like you see someone who's a square. He's wearing glasses, or a typical that image of a nerd. He's wearing glasses, he's studious, doing whatnot. Down the line, now he's smoking cigarettes. A couple years later, he's smoking cigarettes. He's selling drugs. It's the same person, though, but it's not the same person spiritually. He's like, yo, I don't recognize you. What happened to you? I was telling Adam, yo, where are you? Who are you? He can't recognize Adam. Why? Because he covered himself with the leaves. Damn, I don't even know if I have a time to break down the trees and the leaves. But we'll try to get to it, right? Covered himself with the culture of the other nation, right? The nation could be beasts, referred as beasts, or as trees as well. And these leaves are the culture they got from these other nations, from these other trees that they were not supposed to go to. They were like, yo, Wagwan, I don't recognize you. Verse 10, and he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and hid myself. You understand? That's like, he's ashamed. He's like, damn. They realized it was a shameful thing to do. You understand? Verse 11, he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Again, it's not about physical nakedness. The Lord knows already what's up. He's like, listen, he said, art thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou should not eat? Did you do what I told you not to do? How did you know? You know, he snitched on himself. Basically, he snitched on himself. He's like, wait a minute. How did you know that you were naked? How did you know that, you know, now you're being naked? See as shame being uncovered. You see how you're uncovering each other's shame, you know, when you sleep with one another. Physical shame, physical nakedness. That's spiritual shame. It's like, what do you mean you're naked? What do you mean you're ashamed? What's going on? Did you do what I told you not to do? Did you go over by these trees, these other nations, and cover themselves with their culture? Is that what you did? You understand? And that's what I told you. Verse 12. And the man said, the woman who thou gavest to be Salakia. I have to laugh because Adam said, it's not my fault. It's the woman you gave me. Adam said, yeah, I ain't to blame. She tricked me. And that's funny as hell. Listen, that's one of the first lack of accountability on the planet. Salakia. And the man said, the woman who thou gavest to be with me. God, it's you who did this. You gave me that wicked woman. She gave me of the tree and I did eat. Yo, she tricked me, man. Yo, that girl, that thing you gave me, man. It's her fault. And you gave it to me. Listen, boy. Verse 13. And the Lord God said unto the woman. Again, it's not the woman's fault because he gonna check Adam too. But Adam told her, yeah, she made me eat. The Lord God said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me and I did eat. She said, yeah, I mean, I did it, but that serpent tricked me. That devil the Bible speaks of, who's the Caucasian man, our oppressor, the devil, that old serpent, that dragon who's called Satan, the devil the Bible speaks of. You understand? Yeah, he tricked me. He deceived me. He beguiled me. And I did eat. He's like, yeah, I did it, but he tricked me into it. You know. But we could jump down to, let's go to verse 16, because that's where the punishment comes in. Right? Forget about the serpent. We could deal with him another time. But the punishment is that when we disobeyed the Lord, this is what happens. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. You understand? That's why a lot of women, it's painful to give birth. It's painful. And that's a punishment. Why? Because Eve disobeyed. You understand? In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband. Why? Listen, clearly you make poor decisions by yourself. All you have to do is listen to Adam. You understand? You make poor decisions by yourself. A woman's desire shall be of her husband. He's here to make these decisions to prevent you from making the same mistakes Eve made. What did she do? She disobeyed the Lord. How did she disobey the Lord? His command? Because she disobeyed her man. You understand? And he shall rule over thee. Ain't no such thing as being gods and being independent or whatnot. There's no such thing. The man is going to rule over the woman since Adam. Why? To prevent you from making dumb decisions. That's why. It's that simple. Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife. Listen, Adam said, hey, it's her fault. He pointed a finger at her. He said, it's her fault, and you gave her to me. God checked both of them. What do you mean it's my fault? Listen, you're supposed to listen to me. Why you listen to her? Are you serious? So you're trying to put the blame on me because I give you a helpmeet, a good help? I see it's good for you to not be alone. Adam got checked too. He's like, nah. He's like, nah, nigga, you taking that check. You should have listened to me. You decided to listen to her. It's a lot. And to Adam, he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife. Adam should just listen to the Lord. And has eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. You listened to her when I commanded you to not do this thing. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. Hey, at the time, it was like, yo, now we have to work the land. You see now how we have to work, and it's we have to do hard labor. We have to work. That's because Adam listened to his wife. Ain't no wrong in listening to a woman, you know. But listening to a woman going against the Lord, listen, tell her to choose. Do the grocery list if you want to. Listen to her when it's come to the grocery list or whatnot. I don't know. You know, I'm not an expert. Right? I just know that if you listen to her and you go against God, boy, I think it's bad enough that we have to work hard in the field. You know, it says, curses the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Now we have to work. Now we have to put in work. The earth was abundant for us. The Lord can make it rain every day if we need water. You know, he could just spring plants out the ground if we need it. The Lord can do miracles for us. Now, because you decided to be weak to your woman, the Lord said, no sweat. You wanted to find out the hard way? Well, you're going to do some hard work. That's what it is. You understand? What time is it? 6:30? Damn. Let's see. Where did I want it to finish at? With Genesis. Yeah, let's keep reading. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. No, that's not the one. Yeah, that's the one I wanted. Verse 19, in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. Because now he has to work. You see how you have to till the ground, you have to work the field. It's going to be strenuous. Yeah, you're going to sweat, my nigga. You're going to put in some work. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy thing for you to be able to provide. No, man, you're going to put in work. Now, you want... Listen, I gave it to y'all the easy way. All you had to do is listen. But then y'all want it to be stubborn. Y'all don't want to listen. I ain't no sweat. Y'all got this. You know, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it was thou taken, for dust thou art, and dust, and unto dust shalt thou return. To all the days of your life, the Lord said, till you die, you're gonna have to put in work. It could have been easy. That's the easy. I gave y'all the easy way. The easy way was to obey, but y'all decided to follow the heathen. You understand? That's who you decided to follow. You didn't listen to me. You listened to the heathen. And who could give me a precept where God gave us the easy way? Right? You can give us a precept. Matter of fact, two precepts. Two precepts where God gave us the easy way. Two precepts. One in particular. The other one, I don't know if y'all get it, but one in particular. One in particular. God gave us the easy way. Give me one precept in particular. For time's sake, I might give it to y'all. Come on. I know y'all know. I know for facts y'all know. Isaiah said Matthew chapter 19, verse 17. Let me see. That's not the one I wanted in particular, but let me see what it says. 19 and 17. And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? That's not the one. That's not bad, but that's not the one I'm looking for. But that's a perfect precept for what we just read earlier about becoming a living soul. So just for edification purposes, I'm going to bring this up. All right, Matthew chapter 19, verse 17. That's a great precept as well for what we spoke on earlier when Adam became a living soul. Matthew chapter 19, verse 17. And he said unto him, that's Yahweh speaking, who you call Jesus Christ, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. That's twofold. Christ is telling you he's not God. Just so y'all know. Christ is not the God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. You understand? Keeping the commandments is how you become alive, how you enter into life, right? Isaiah said, John 15 and 10, what does it say? Mind you, y'all got 3 strikes. It's a lot. I ain't trying to be like the devil. But after the 3rd time, usually I gave you all the answer. John 15 and 10, he said, if you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love. Means I kept my Father's commandment and abide in his love. No, that's not it. That's more so, you could use that for the love of the Lord. What is it? To be loved by the Lord, and so on and so forth. Who keeping not the, what does it say? I'm just paraphrasing. If you love the world, the love of the Father is not in you. What is love? 1 John 5 and 3. The love of God is to keep the commandments. You could use that for that. I give y'all one more try, though. I give y'all one more try. One more. Bear with me 1 second. I know y'all know. I ain't giving y'all no. I gave y'all the hint already. One more try. Come on, I gave y'all 10 seconds. 15 seconds. Let me be more brotherly. "15 seconds, and then I'm gonna give y'all the precept. I'm gonna give y'all 3 precepts, right? And really, that repeats itself throughout the scriptures. You understand? Did we pass the 15 seconds? I think so. Let me just give it for time's sake, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 19. Let's start at verse 3. Exodus 19 and 3. What is it? Deuteronomy 30 and 16. Hey, I say I'll give y'all one more try. So let's go Deuteronomy 30 and 16. Yeah. Deuteronomy 30, verse 16. This is not the specific one I was talking about, but Most High in Christ. There you go. Deuteronomy 30 and 16. That's a perfect one. It says, in that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments. Most High in Christ. Give a hand to Isaiah. That's one of them. That's not a specific one, but yeah, I only did one. Most High in Christ. That thou mayest live and multiply, and the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. That's it. The Lord give us the blueprint. What do you mean? Like, come on, man. It's like, it's not even like we don't know. Adam knew, yo, don't do this. Now he did it, and now we have to work. It's as simple as that. Just obey. That's it. Ain't no going back and forth. And don't blame someone else for your mistakes. Adam tried to blame Eve. He blamed the serpent. Both of y'all, regardless of who you're blaming, you didn't listen. That's the point. You decided to do something else, to follow after the heathen. You decided to follow, to go against what you were told to do or not to do. That's the point. The Lord gave us the blueprint right here. The Lord gave us the easy way. Let me give you all 3 precepts, right? Most High in Christ, that's a perfect one. Deuteronomy 30 and 16. This is all you have to do. Want to be blessed? No sweat. Just obey and be rewarded. That's what it says. Let's start in order. Exodus chapter 19, verse 3, right? And Moses went up unto God, Salakia. And the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. This is what Moses had to tell the nation. This is the word of God. Again, just like God didn't speak directly to Eve, he spoke to Adam. Just like he spoke to Moses and Moses passed down the message. You understand? Verse 4, ye have been seen what I did unto the Egyptians. You see what I did? Right? And how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Verse 5, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, keyword if you obey, here's what happens, and keep my covenant, which is the contract. In the contract, you have 2 ends of the contract. You understand? Then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. There's one precept you could use as well. You're supposed to be above all nations if we obey. You could precept that with Deuteronomy, was it 7 and 6, I think. We're a special people above all people. We're supposed to be that if you will obey. That's what it says. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice, meaning what? We're at the bottom of the barrel because we don't obey. Listen, people make it seem like, you see, when we talk about the love of God, I'm just paraphrasing. 1 John 5 and 3 says, the love of God is to follow the commandments. The commandments are not grievous. All you have to do is listen. You have to love Mexicans. You have to love natives. You have to not worship voodoo. You have to not eat pork. You have to not be a homosexual. Is it difficult to just love women? Is it difficult to not eat pork, to not eat shrimp, rat, catfish? I was going to say rats. Listen, we're not Chinese. Catfish, crab, lobster. Is it difficult? How is it difficult to love Mexicans who you were on the plantation with? How is it difficult to love Native Americans who you were on the plantation with? Is that difficult to not want to kill one another? You understand? Is that difficult that once you sleep with that man, you don't sleep with any other man? Is it difficult to sleep with a woman and to keep her? That doesn't mean you're never going to argue. But there's laws, there's a blueprint for how to deal with it if we have any problems. You understand? The law is not difficult to follow. We just decide not to do it. That's it. All Adam had to do is to not follow the heathen. And he still did. All Eve had to do is to obey instructions that was given to her. And she still didn't do that. Now the repercussions now, listen, you're gonna be painful to give birth. And you really can't really complain. All you had to do is to listen. Adam didn't listen. He said, yo, God said, what did you do? He said, yo, it's that woman's fault and you gave her to me. God said, I ain't trying to hear that. Check her. She didn't listen. You give her a check-in. No, I have to check you. Listen, you thought it was that easy to blame her and me? I said, no, I ain't trying to hear that. Listen, you're responsible because you didn't listen. She's responsible trying to blame the serpent, but she didn't listen. Y'all are both guilty. You understand? So let me not be too long-winded. Let's go to real quick Deuteronomy 28:1. That's the specific one I was asking for, right? But Isaiah, it says the same thing regardless. Deuteronomy 26:1. Again, and it shall come to pass, meaning it will happen. If thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, is what happens. If you obey, to observe and to do, meaning you observe, you understand, you study, and you practice. To do something is an action. To do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Y'all can read down to verse 14. It breaks down the blessings. We're not going to do that for time's sake. But if we listen, if we obey, we're rewarded. We go to verse 15. Now, on the other hand, what if happened if we disobey? But, meaning, listen, from verse 1 to verse 14, the blessings. That's what happens if we obey. Now, verse 15. But, meaning, if this happens, you're rewarded. But, on the other hand, but it shall come to pass, meaning it will happen. If thou will not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, meaning if you do the opposite, what is the opposite of obeying? Disobeying. To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. You obey, you're rewarded. You disobey, you're reprimanded. It's that easy. Damn. Let me give you the other precept for time's sake, right? This is the Baruch, chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore, the Lord had made good his word. What does it mean he made good his word? And we got a few minutes left. What does it mean he made good his word? What does that mean? The Lord had made good his word. What does it mean to have made good his word? What did the Lord say in the first place? The Lord had made good his word. Come on, we have a few minutes left. Remember, it's in Old English. I might give you for time's sake. What does it mean that he made good his word? He kept his promise. He kept his end of the bargain. But what? And let's keep reading. Most High in Christ. You understand? Baruch chapter 2 and 1. Therefore, the Lord had made good his word, which he pronounced against us, not for our benefit. Our benefit is if we obey, we reward it. What did he pronounce against us? We just read it. The curses. And against our judges that judged Israel, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah. Boy, come on. Just for edification purposes, to make good is to succeed, to fulfill a promise, or compensate for a loss. You understand with the context. In that case, is to fulfill his promise. He honored his end of the bargain. He told you, yo, if you listen, you're rewarded. If you disobey, I'm gonna curse y'all. Y'all got to get punished. And yeah, he did. Because we didn't fulfill our end of the bargain. To bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened unto the whole heaven. You think, damn. Listen, verse 3 is talking about literally eating our kids. You understand? Something that has never seen, right? Under the whole heaven. as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. What is the law? All we had to do is obey. That's it. You understand? Let me put the sign out links in the chat. We'll definitely do a part 2 next week. Right. Izan said, quick question. Salaki, sir, did Adam have other wives? If I recall, he only had Eve, if I recall correctly. Let me see. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, it doesn't say. It doesn't mention any other wife. It mentioned he knew his wife again, so he had Seth after Cain killed Abel. So it doesn't mention that Adam had any other women. You know who did? Jacob, our forefather. That's who did. David, Solomon. That's who did. Who did it? Who else? Abraham. Did Isaac have another wife? I don't recall, but Abraham didn't. Right? Let me get to, can I go to one more precept? Matter of fact, let's go to one more precept, right? Let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. We're going to end it with this, verse 11. Any other question before we end the class? Y'all make sure y'all put it in the chat right now, Babu Kushat. If not, y'all save it for next week. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, let's go to verse 11. Now, this is one of my favorite precepts to show you that, yeah, when we follow the heathens, we're destroyed. You know, the book of Judges. Damn, good night. There's so many precepts to show you that every time we follow these heathens, we're destroyed. Since Adam, because that happened since the Garden of Eden. All we have to do is obey. And we wouldn't have to work. We wouldn't have to get life being difficult. What you have to do is don't eat pork. Don't follow the heathens. That's the point. 1 Maccabees, what did I say? Chapter 1, verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men. For context, this in the time of the Maccabees, when the Greeks ruled over us. Y'all can read all from the beginning of the chapter under Alexander the Greek. Today they call him the Great. For white people, maybe he was. But for us, absolutely not. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men. What did we just read earlier? Those shepherds, those dumb dogs. That's what it's talking about. Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. They're doing the same dumb things that was done since the Garden of Eden. Ever since. That is not new. You understand? That are round about us. Just like in the Garden of Eden, the trees that were round about the garden, the round about Adam. These were other nations. Those leaves that Adam and Eve covered themselves with were other nations' culture. I'm gonna break that down next week. Make sure if I forget, y'all remind me. But I'll break down about the trees and the leaves, right? For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. We think we need these people. They need us. We make the world go around. You understand? Did you know that the sewer system were modeled after the irrigation system of the Mayan or Inca Empire? I forgot which one. If it wasn't for that, listen, if it wasn't for the tribe of Issachar, for the tribe of Zebulon, right, for the tribe of Asher, all a person would still be throwing piss and feces out the window. Literally. That's what they did. That's why they got the Black Plague. That's why they had so many diseases in Europe, because they don't have any hygiene. We taught them hygiene. And we thinking, yo, we're sad. We're miserable without these heathens. We're not. Every time we follow these heathens, we were destroyed. And they know that. That's in the book of Judith, chapter 5, verse 20. Right? It says, if there's an error within Israel, the heathens are going to overtake us. Right? Verse 12. So this device pleased them well, meaning they came to a consensus like, yeah, you know what? We're going to go to the Greeks. We're going to adopt their culture. Don't you know that once you assimilate to a nation or you integrate, you enter into that nation, you enter to their custom. You understand? You leave yours out, but you enter into theirs. And their culture goes against yours. When you assimilate, you basically absorb their culture like a sponge. All that filthiness, you absorb it. And you say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to follow white people. That's exactly what it says right here. Because the Greeks were Caucasian. Or they call them the Macedonians. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein. They're like, yeah, this will down with the plan. You know, being forward is being direct. Sometimes have you heard someone say, you're too forward with it. You're too direct, man. Sometimes, especially Benjamites. Sometimes something we say, sometimes like, yo, damn, that's crazy. Crazy. Vernacular. They were forward with it. They were like, yo, they didn't blink. Like, yeah, you know what? They were so down to it. Here's what happened. That they went to the king who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. They're like, yo, they went to the chief. They ain't like, yo, let me talk to the secretary and like, yo, we adopt. No, they went to the chief head. They're like, yo, listen, we follow you guys now. They went directly to the boss, say, yo, whatever we got to do, we do it. You know, we want to be like you guys. We're miserable. You know, y'all partying, celebrating Christmas and Bacchanal, however they call Christmas back then, Saturnalia. Who knows? Who cares? Who gives a damn, right? Whatever holiday, y'all having drunken orgies in the middle of the streets. Y'all thinking y'all want to partake in this. Y'all went directly to the king like, yo, want to be part of the party too. Whatever we got to do, let us in. The king don't give a damn. The heathens know they can overpower you and overtake you when you don't follow the law. So why would he give a damn whether or not you follow him? And that's the problem. See, just like the serpent did not force Eve into disobeying the law. Eve did not force Adam. We did it ourselves. You understand? It says obey, or if you obey or if you disobey. That's it. Meaning what? You're the one either obeying or disobeying. Nobody's forcing you to do either or. Verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. If you did not know, it's a gym. That's a place of exercise. If you did not know how those gyms were back then, they were exercising naked. Look up the culture of the gymnasium. That gym is short for gymnasium. Look at the culture, that Greek culture. Y'all were bench pressing naked, Salakia. That's literally what happened. And y'all brought that filthiness to Jerusalem. Y'all thought y'all thought you want to be part of this? Good night, man. This one was it, verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised. For times, let me just break it down to y'all. Circumcision, this is a metaphor. Physical circumcision is when the foreskin of your rod is being cut off, right? Or severed. And there was a token for us, not a token, what is it called again? Well, let's call it a token of the covenant we had with the Lord. You understand? But if if being circumcised is that foreskin being cut off, what is the opposite, being uncircumcised? Meaning you reattach it. Being circumcised, that foreskin is separated. For times I'm going to give you all the breakdown, like I said, being separated is being holy. So now that we're uncircumcised, we reattach ourselves. We attach ourselves, understand, to these heathens. As opposed to be separated like the Lord made us, we decide to attach ourselves to these heathens. Just like, Adam and Eve attached themselves to the trees in the garden. to that serpent. That's what happened. We're supposed to be circumcised. We're supposed to be separated. We're supposed to be holy, set apart. But now they say, yo, let's join the heathens because, yo, we missed the party. The greatest party on the planet is when we got freed from the heathens, the Passover. You understand? That's a holy convocation. A convocation set apart, separated, not uncircumcised and reattached to everybody else. Our parties are private parties. You want to go to the goddamn club with these disgusting, filthy, deviant heathens. That's exactly what it says. Made themselves uncircumcised, meaning we attach ourselves to them. And forsook the holy covenant. We forget about the deal with God. If we obey, we good to go. If we disobey, we destroy. You forgot all about that. Just for what? Just to party all day and night? Listen, you know how the Greeks partied? We already covered all these. Damn near every time there's one of these pagan holiday coming up, we cover the history of it. Carnival. Listen, y'all literally drunk and high and naked in the middle of the streets. Valentine's Day, y'all do the same thing, and then y'all add to sacrificing dogs and goats to whip women for fertility in the middle of the street, and then having a drunken orgy. It's all about being drunk and deviant. That's all these pagan holidays are about. You're like, yeah, I want to be part of the party too. They're disgusting. What is there to miss? What is there to miss? Come on. You understand? There's apparently a new virus. It's a fungus. It was sexually transmitted, apparently. I just read that. I had to go over it. I'm like, damn. Apparently they cured AIDS. Guess what? The Lord made a super AIDS. Yes, that's what y'all want. That's what happens when you go to these deviant parties. You understand? The Greeks had that. The Greek culture was Epstein culture. Y'all didn't know that? Look up pederasty. It was then adopted by the Romans, and all that they got from the other nation, the other heathens as well. Who cares? That's not the point. The point is you're supposed to not partake in this. You're supposed to have your own private party as opposed to jump into that public cesspool of disgusting filthiness. Y'all wanted to. That's integration right here, by the way. The white woman said, why did we integrate? To share the same fountain and the same toilet seats? Was that really worth it? Now ask yourself that during the time of Maccabees. Was that really worth it? You just, we adopted the heathens. We made a covenant with them. So what? To join the party, be a deviant, and then you were still being slaughtered. We already went over that. We could then go over that every brotherhood class. We are to be segregated. We are to be holy. We are to be circumcised. We are to be set apart. When we attach ourselves to them, we're destroyed. When we follow the heathens, we're destroyed. Following the heathens since the Garden of Eden is the reason why we're destroyed. Let's finish the verse. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. You understand? Yeah, it says super AIDS is crazy, but that's a fact though. That's a fact. Y'all look it up. I forgot what's it called. I just call it super AIDS. But the point is this. We always had the blueprint. The problem was always to not follow the law. The Lord told us what the problem would be. Since Adam, the Lord said, yo, y'all just listen. Just listen. And that goes for everything, You make a mistake and you realize, maybe I should have just listened to what my camp leader told me. Just listen. That's it. If you listen, listen to the men above you. You know who made that mistake to not listen to the men above? Eve did. Eve. You know who else? Adam did. The Lord is a man of war. Adam did not listen to orders that was passed down to him. He didn't. Who else didn't listen? And who else was not patient? All of us. The golden calf. We're going to go next week to the book of Judges. I think there's a story in Joshua. There is plenty of example. Ezra. We married these filthy heathens. We're not supposed to have interracial marriage. Now we marry them and then we go back into captivity. It was reiterated again in the book of Nehemiah. Are we going to sin like what Solomon did by marrying strange women? And that's why we're in captivity. No need to name the amount of times that we were in captivity. The kingdom got split because of that. And Solomon was perfect until he was not. Solomon did the same thing Adam did. He got weak for women, though. I ain't gonna hold you. The solution is what? To come back to the Lord. To come back to find the law, statutes, and commandments. That's it. Every time we did that, we were not oppressed no more. We were not captives no more. What we did after that, we went back to the same bullshit. So like, we went back to the same stupidness again. I just showed you that's in the Apocrypha. We got delivered. What did we do? Yeah, we missed the public parties. Let's go back to the Greeks. And then what happened? Read the book of Maccabees. On down, you're gonna see to the whole first chapter, to the whole story. What happened before we got to celebrate the feast of dedication, Hanukkah? The Greeks the Greeks never cared about us, whether we follow them or not. They still slaughter us by the thousands. You understand? They slaughtered us. They enslaved us. They tortured a mother and her 7 kids because they would not eat pork. Just to show you that they don't care whether or not you follow the law. They're going to kill you regardless. Might as well follow the law. You understand? And make sure God don't punish us. God's going to deal with them. Make sure he deals with us the right way. How? By making sure we're on his good side. How can we be on his good side? Or how can we be on his good side? We obey. How do we remain on his good side? We don't disobey. With that said, it's a like for being long-winded. I'm going to end the class right here. Make sure y'all click the sign in and sign out links at the beginning and the end of the class. Next week will be a part 2, right? It's a lack of being long-winded. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat. You understand? Aizan, the young man, Adam, even the troll. I appreciate the troll. Keep commenting, like, share, subscribe, put comments, ask questions, push the algorithm. Everybody needs to know the truth that so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native are the real biblical Israelites, and the solution is right there. Stop following the oppressor. Nothing new under the sun. We did that since the beginning of times, since the Garden of Eden. It's time to do the right thing. You understand? With that, I'm going to get the security announcements. We'll end the class. So y'all tune in to John Muhammad's Scripture Breakdown class right now on One West online classes or I.S.U.P.K. One West online classes. Y'all will find it. Regardless, make sure y'all tune in. And we will be back next week, Israel. The water again is Shalom. Get the security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation. We have coming up the Feast of First Fruits, which will be not this Sunday, but next Sunday, May 31st, right? Start before sundown. You can read about it more in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 10 to 22. Reminder to all Akim wa Akwathian, reminder to all brothers and sisters to check the bulletin board in the hallway of their school if they have a physical location. And if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. With that, so we'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Menavijal Amajam. We'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Menavijal Amajam Shabbat. Amajam, Barak, Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Brakatham. Being Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai bless y'all. Yah Jamata, which means hands down. Sar, which means to turn and face the sisters. We'll give them a courtesy salute as well. Menavijal Amajam Shabbat. Amajam, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alathan Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai. Being Yahweh, watch over y'all in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yah Jamata, class dismissed. The water again. Shalom Israel.
Check me out, dog. Roll the window up, man. The water. Ain't no better, dog, brother. The son of a king. I don't Balenciaga. I might just wear Kyla. I might just wear the Pradas. But I'm thinking long term, so I might say the dollars. We ain't no better. I'm just being honest. I should've went to college, but I was thinking violence. This a one West world. We the fucking livest. Break it down, we break ground. We don't break no damn promise. Let's get active, dog. Don't tell me how you feel about it. These cats saying too much. They ain't learn enough. You maxed out the first quarter, I'm still warming up. These niggas tossing up a brick, they can't score with us. Who gon' come against us? On the Lord with us. Them niggas riding for you. Hope they ride till they crash. Put my name in your mouth, I put my belt to your ass. I ain't running no race, I just hope that I last. All them niggas you look up to, I consider them trash. Only time you seen a leader was in Wayne hand. Niggas will dap you, then pop you with the same hand. I'm a main player, I stick to the game plan. He don't really fuck with you, that's your main man. We them niggas came through and made your city hot. Yup, said he in the field, but he really not. I ain't casting no stone, I just let him rock. And that's the kind of story they gon' read about. But if it's war, it ain't no tapping out. Grip still heat, spit like a dragon mouth.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West.